So I just wanted to talk a little bit today about my favorite emulation devices. First one's going to be Miyoo Mini, because there's not as much to talk about whenever it comes to this one. They're not making this one anymore. It's pretty small. But yeah, I got it off of AliExpress. It was pretty difficult to get whenever they were making it. It's like 60 bucks. Now they're making the Miyoo Mini Plus, which is just a little bit bigger. I'm not interested in getting that one. I like the Miyoo Mini that I have, but it comes with a nice case. We're also going to be talking about the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. There is a 3 and then there's a 3 Plus, which is more powerful. So if you have the option, make sure you go with the 3 Plus. This one's pretty easy to get. It's about $150. I think it might have took close to a month or a month and a half to get here. So the shipping time is a while for this one. And I'll show you a little bit of gameplay on each one. So the Retroid Pocket 3, obviously, since it plays more games, will take a little bit more time on. We're not going to go through a whole bunch because that would take forever. You know, both of these play old Retroid games like SNES and NES and all that stuff. So here's a quick comparison of the two devices beside of the OLED switch. You got the Retroid Pocket, which the whole thing's about the size of the screen of the OLED. Then you have the Miyoo Mini, which is about the size of the Retroid Pocket 3. You could fit about 3 Miyoo Minis across the screen of the OLED switch. So that kind of gives you like an idea of how big this thing is. And I got the Game Boy colored one. It's got the triggers on the back of it, since you can play some PS1 games, and they're okay. I don't really like the layout too much. They feel fine. They get the job done. Now, the user interface on this is Onion OS. It gives you a couple of features I'll show you. It's pretty simple. You know, you can change, brightness and settings and the sleep timer. You can come over here to the apps and change the themes. You can play up to PS1 games, and it runs them great. I prefer 2D games and 3D RPGs because the D-pad doesn't feel that great. I tried playing Spyro the Dragon and it's just not great, but SNES plays great. You have Game Boy, and I like this feature here. This is probably the thing that stands out the most, is the quick resume feature. So I have all these games open at once, and you can see I'm jumping into Symphony of the Night, and it's resuming the game exactly where I left off. It's not stuck to any sort of console. You can just switch from PlayStation to SNES to Game Boy, and I'll show that real quick as well. I'm going straight into Final Fantasy VII. See, it's picking up right where I left off, which is amazing. So it's like, you don't really feel like playing this game. I might want to jump over and play a little bit of Metroid and pick up there. The one thing is, though, be careful where you kind of stop playing, because some of these games, like the Metroidvanias, it's not always easy to remember where you were going. And I would say I take the Miyoo Mini out with me places more than the Retroid Pocket. They're both pretty portable, but the Miyoo Mini is just going to fit in your pocket a lot easier, even if you have the case or not. And it's kind of given me a reason to go and play these older games more often. Now with the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus, it's an Android-based device, and so there's more features that you're able to do, and you have things like N64 emulator, you got PS1, Dolphin, which is for GameCube and Wii, Aether SX2, which is for PS2, and I'm going to launch PPSSPP and just show you. It's pretty basic. There's other launchers that you can use to change kind of the user interface and stuff if you don't really like individually going through some of these. I mean, most of them are fine, but N64 is nice as well. It has a nice layout. You can see all of the box art, and it automatically loads it in there. I didn't have to add it. But when you go to something like Aether SX2 for the PS2, it's not really that great to look at. It's just text, and it's exactly the same with the PlayStation. It's just not as good to look at. So we can check out this launcher here, and it just makes the user interface so much nicer. And I didn't have to load any of this stuff. It automatically picks up from your library and it organizes it for you. It adds all the box art, and you can launch the games from here as well. See, having the box art here and stuff like that, it's a lot more appealing to look at. So I do prefer to launch my games and look at them through here. it's free as well, so you don't have to worry about paying for this. So let's jump over here to some gameplay. We'll start with PS2. Playing a little Dragon Ball Z Budokai. There's no kind of stutters or anything, even with you know, using the Kamehameha wave. And so not all games are going to run great, but there's plenty of games that you're going to have a great experience playing. This is one of those. Kingdom Hearts 2, I mean, this game runs great too. Almost better. I think it runs better than Kingdom Hearts 1. There's some stutter in it. I don't know if it's due to optimization or what, but no slowdowns with this. I didn't have to do any underclocking. And so this is a different kind of game. You know, there's bigger open worlds to explore. Simpsons Hit and Run. You'll see here, not all games are going to run great. This one right here is just super laggy, and it's like a racing game that you're going to kind of need it to run properly to actually enjoy. So you might underclock, do a mild underclock, and then look, like the game's running perfectly. It's totally enjoyable, and this is just a mild underclock. You can do all kinds of things, like there's medium underclocks and all this other stuff. I might go into a video at some point depending on how well this does. And then you'll have things like Need for Speed Underground. I didn't do any underclocking on this. It's not running great, but I mean, for, you know, the graphic style and everything going on as far as the lighting and the cars and the speed, I mean, it runs really well. And jumping over to Dolphin Emulator, there's like 3 different ones. I think MMJR is the best one to run. I will go ahead and say for the PlayStation and GameCube games, download the PAL versions, which are the European versions, because they're going to run at 50 Hz instead of 60. That 10 FPS makes a huge difference. So it just kind of helps with the game being able to run at full speed a lot easier. And you know, Zelda Wind Waker ran pretty good for the most part. There's a slowdown in the second area here, but it's not very noticeable on the camera. I played some Metroid Prime, and wow, I've never played it before, and the controls were not that great, to be honest. I heard the Switch one's a lot better, but it ran really good. There was a little bit of slowdown at the beginning with the cutscene, but from the bit that I played, it ran good. The Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes did not run good. There's some kind of graphical issues, and you know, that might be due to I could run Dolphin Handheld, Dolphin MMJR, or just Dolphin. It might depend on the kind you're running or whatever. So it's like, don't get your hopes up. It's not going to run every game great, but there's a lot of games that it does, and it's just worth, you know, tinkering and messing around to see if you can get it to run great or whatnot. Now PS2, it runs awesome, and it looks awesome on this screen upscaled. I think the aspect ratio just matches perfectly, and I think a lot of these games you could probably push up to like 4 times or something like that. And I played through a decent amount of this game with no problems. I played Midnight Club. That's an open world racing game. There's an occasional slowdown sometimes, but for the most part, you can see I'm hitting that constant 60 FPS with really no dips. The only difference is this game I noticed ran a lot better than like Need for Speed Most Wanted on the PSP. There's a lot of slowdown on that for some reason. In 64, I'm playing Donkey Kong 64. And I've tried this game on a lot of different devices, and it's never really worked properly. Even either audio problems or just lag in general with the game. But this one, it ran really nice. And then Toy Story 2, great game, by the way. I played this one a lot on PlayStation. It turns out it looks a lot better on N64. But this game runs phenomenal. I've had a lot of time with this game. Didn't notice any kind of problems with it. Jump into PS1. Obviously, PS1's going to run great. A lot of PS2 games run great. A lot of GameCube games run great. So yeah, you know, Spyro. You can map the analog stick if you want. DS is really cool too. I have fast forwarding mapped to the right analog stick because sometimes I just want to get through the dialogue. I got the right trigger also mapped so you can kind of switch between screens, and you'll see that again here with the Castlevania game. You can do more than this too, but you can change it full screen if you want and then just switch between. I like having the bigger screen and the smaller one. There's another option too where you can have 2 same size screens, but I prefer to have one a little bit bigger. And yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Like I said, all the other ones are going to be, all the other consoles like SNES and all that run really good on it. I mean, there's not really any reason to show that. Most devices nowadays can run those games great, but you know, Retroid Pocket's 150, Miyoo Mini 60. I think the new Miyoo Mini Plus is about 60. So I mean, for 200 bucks, I got 2 devices. One for a little bit more at home play, for a little bit better games, and a little bit more options as to what I can play, and then, you know, one I might take on the go. And let me know what you think, if you've been into emulation recently. And I feel like it's affected the type of games that I've played, and there's a lot of older games that I probably wouldn't go back to, but just due to the portability and taking it places and just playing it here and there, I've really enjoyed going back and experiencing some of these older games. But I hope you have a great day. If you guys want more content or a little bit more in-depth look at either of these devices, let me know in the comments. I can go over some of the settings in the RP3 Plus and kind of show you the underclocking and just all these different things, or more game demonstrations and stuff like that of what games run on them. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.